Okay, our first candidate is Maynard Law. Maynard, first of all, welcome to Los Cerritos Community News.
Thank you.
And tell us a little bit first about your background. When were you, how old are you? What's your background in here in Cerritos,
Sure.
in the community?
I'm younger than Jerry. I'm 68 years old.
Everybody's younger than Jerry.
That's right. 68 years old. I've lived in Cerritos for 37 years. This one I know. I've been married for 46 years. Our anniversary was yesterday.
Oh, happy
So I know that for sure. I have 2 sons, 2 daughter-in-laws, and 4 grandkids. One son and 1 daughter-in-law are principals in Paramount Unified. 1 daughter-in-law is a teacher at Long Beach Poly, and 1 son is sports and aquatics director for the YMCA.
And where did you grow up?
I was born in Long Beach, about a quarter of a mile from where I lived until I got married. I lived in a house that my grandfather built. There was nothing but bean fields.
Tell us a little bit about some of your professional career.
Let's see. I originally was going to be a teacher. I went through all the teaching classes up to student teaching. I did my student teaching in Long Beach in a middle school, inner city, and decided that maybe that wasn't for me. The lack of some discipline and respect on by some of the students, I just decided I couldn't do this. So I changed majors and became a Parks and Recreation major. And I worked for a number of cities in Parks and Recreation, including the city of Cerritos for a number of years. Director of Parks and Recreation for Rancho Palos Verdes, and Santa Monica, and Cudahy. I was assistant city manager in the city of Cudahy, and the executive director of a federal job training program for 8 cities in that area. And that was a situation in which those 8 cities were my bosses to council. So if you take 8 times 5, that's 40 people telling you what to do. So I basically had an opportunity to retire, so I retired. And after retirement, I went back, had an opportunity to go back to school. And USC had a program where they took basically executives from other industries and into a really fast education program to become a teacher. And for that, you had to give 2 years to LA Unified School District, which I did. I was a 2nd grade, 4th grade, 6th grade, 8th grade, high school. Then I went to Paramount Unified as a special education teacher and taught severely emotionally disturbed kids, then regular different kinds of handicapped kids. And then I became a resource specialist, which is a person that loves reading those kinds of things. And then eventually, before I retired, I worked with a team of a psychologist, speech person, and myself, and we tested kids throughout the district to see if they qualified for special ed. And then I retired from that.
What do you think are the most important issues facing ABC right now?
No, it's obvious. It's financial.
Do you have any ideas or?
Well, I think what the ultimate goal is try to get some sort of semi-permanent or permanent solution to the financial crisis, so that we're not undergoing every year, every half a year, these emergency things that we have to cut the budget, or we have to do this, we have to do that. We need a long-term, reasonable solution for the funding that they in Sacramento can stick to.
So you're saying Sacramento has to get their act together?
Yes.
What do you think? I know that the district has looked at, but I don't know if they've done anything further about closing a school or schools.
Well, at our last budget cuts, those things were on the table. The possibility of closing schools, a lot of long-range things, lots of things. And we were able to not have to do that. If this anticipated budget shortfall mid-year, it means about $260 per student we would lose on a programs that we've already started. So you got to do something. So that is something that will be back on the board. We do have some property also, pieces of schools that are not being used that we could probably sell. And there's some difficulty with that because the state requires a thing called the 7-Eleven committee where they have to investigate it. And,
what's the status of that property across from Excelsior High School? That's district owned, isn't it?
No, it was, but it isn't. It's now Norwalk La Mirada.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we made some kind of agreement with them.
Before you
they owned it before I was.
Yeah.
Is that where the swap meet is?
Yeah, there's a.
Where's the parking lot?
Where's the parking lot is?
Parking lot, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question here about the overall state of public education in California and state of education here in ABC comparatively. What do you think about the state of education here in California? Public education.
I think it's better than people think it is in most cases, because we have so many dedicated people that are in education. They're in there because they want to be the health kinds of things, the social kinds of things. So, for instance, in our district, we keep cutting and the test scores keep going up. And it's really due to the dedication of the teachers and administrators and everybody else that's involved in it. There's going to be a certain point which we can't do anymore. I mean, we just can't do. We're lean now, and we have way under the amount of administrators we're supposed to have. We were able to keep all of our permanent teachers this time around. We're pushing to get more involvement from the communities in the businesses. We go out and make a real pitch. Okay, if you're working here in Cerritos, or you're working someplace here, and you've got school-age children, we want them in our school. We want them in our program. To us, it brings in ADA, and to them, it saves them finding a babysitter or driving all over the place to try to find something. So I think.
And what's ADA?
It's the average daily attendance is what it stands for, and it's how we get our money in the district is through ADA, and there's other grants, but that's the primary source.
You get a set amount for each child that
Yes.
attends. That's what
Each child is actually in attendance,
Yeah.
not each child. It's done every day, so there is, it kind of goes up and down, and I can't remember the exact time, but I think it's like 10 o'clock in the morning is the official. You got to be at school by, and we made a big push for that too. We've got the attendance people out there knocking on doors and finding out why they're not coming to school, and not just because of the ADA, but they need to be in school.
Now you finished into your first term,
Mm-hmm.
and what do you think's 3 of your biggest goals that you want to accomplish during the next 4 years if you get reelected? Or not 3, you can just give a couple if you want. What is something you really want to do next 4 years?
Something I want to do, and I'm working on getting support, is to really upgrade the career technology part of our programs. So often, all we think about is getting kids into Stanford or Harvard or Yale or whatever, and I think there's this movement many years ago. We had all these kinds of career technical education programs, and then it just kind of disappeared, and it's strictly reading, writing, and math. And I think there's a real need for that kind of stuff. We formed a career technical education program advisory committee, and we're looking at how we can coordinate things with the adult school and Cerritos College and the ROP program. I'm on the ROP board also, and try to coordinate these things and get more and more opportunities. There's money available for career things. There's no reason why a kid who basically knows he's not going to go to Harvard or Yale, but has a real strong interest in electronics, why he can't take classes along with the normal classes. His electives could be towards electronics or towards whatever.
Just like the kids in the honor programs taking API classes,
right,
that the technical students could take.
Why
Wow.
can't they do that? And we're working towards trying to design it so it's from middle school through high school, through working in cooperation with Cerritos College, and like the automotive program.
Yeah.
That's a really
That's a
big
good program.
I'm just going to ask you about your programs at Cerritos College.
That's a really big one, the automotive industry.
You have, how far down does that go, at grade level?
Well, we're starting a program at, it's certainly in the high school, but we're starting one in the middle schools, particularly FEDI.
Yeah.
They're going to have this kind of track thing where if they're interested in this, they can take some low-level things, and then when they're in high school, they're in regular high school, but they also go over there, and particularly at Tracy too. Tracy's a big one. They actually go to Tracy, some of them in the morning, and then they get bused over to the auto center because they have that big education program there, and they learn, and when they get through, they're mechanics.
Do you have other technical programs over at the college that you're working
there's
with them on?
let's see. There's things that are really important in the pharmacy tech program. That's a big thing right now, pharmacy tech.
That's great.
There's the what do you call that? The hairdressers. That's not what they call it. What is that
Cosmetology.
called? Cosmetology. That's it. I'm not into that particular.
Is that kind of like an astronaut? I mean,
yes, right.
Cosmetologist. Big heads, yeah.
Yeah. And we're all the time looking to do some things together. We have a joint college and school districts. We get together and we look at things that we can do together.
Has state budget cuts affected the college on some of these
Oh
programs?
yes, definitely. The college situation is very interesting because there's so much cutbacks and increase in expenses in the four-year colleges. They have so many people now want to go to the JCs. The JCs can't take anymore because they can't afford any more teachers or whatever. So it's very difficult. So that's another aspect of some of the adult education, some of the career technical stuff. We're trying to get a different angle to get kids to.
Speaking of adult education, what type of programs do you have there for the students as opposed to adults, or is it all adults?
No, it's not all adults. That's kind of a misnomer. You can take, and we do have kids that are in high school that are taking adult education. There's classes that are the required education kinds of classes to get your GED or whatever it happens to be. Those are adult education classes. And then there are some electives, but primarily the electives are on the other side, the adult side of things. And that could change because adult education is an area in which we're not required to have. We're a K-12 school district, as is everybody else. So adult ed is just kind of a very nice add-on, and it's not one of those things that, if it got down to it, it may not do as well in the budget cuts. We're increasing some fees in adult ed because we have to do it. We can't.
What about, you just hired a new superintendent,
Mm-hmm.
and you decided to stay inside as
Mhm.
opposed to going outside, and you selected Dr. Mary Sue. Any more additional thoughts about that?
Of course. I think we made the right choice. There was no sense in going nationwide search and spending a lot of money to get somebody we knew quite well, we knew could do the job. A super person has really been, Dr. Smuts is kind of the face of the district. Dr. Sue is kind of the nuts and bolts. She keeps it all together. She knows what's going on. She writes the grant. For instance, we get a Thursday report every week, a report about what's going on. And it's always from Dr. Smuts. But we all know it's Dr. Sue that writes it. I think the biggest problem we're going to have is replacing Dr. Sue. She does so much. And I think by doing it now, we put that aside, and she's going to have the opportunity for 6 months to design her own team, how she wants to, maybe the same way, maybe something different. We may not have a deputy superintendent, we might have another assistant superintendent, but our job is to hire the superintendent and for the superintendent to run the district. So I think everybody is pleased. We had one board member who really thought we should go outside and search, and the arguments were valid that we needed to. We're an important district, and we needed to make sure that we got the right person. But we think we got the right person.
You had a unanimous vote for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He originally wanted us to search, but then when he saw that we have the right person here.
And the superintendent has some responsibilities that the deputy superintendent doesn't.
Of course. Yes.
So she's got to acclimate into
Yes,
that.
it'll be a little different,
Yeah.
but we know that she has been approached by a great number of school districts to be their superintendent, and I think that my feeling was, if we don't hire her, we lose Dr. Munson and we'll lose Dr. Sue, and we don't want that to happen.
So tell us more about your campaign. How can people get involved? Who's endorsing you? Who's endorsing you, by the way?
Well, I'm just getting started, so that's kind of not a thing, but I basically have all the city councils from the 3 major cities, and most of them from one of the 4 cities. Don Canopy, of course. I'm still working on a lot of them, and so endorsements are important. But everybody's trying to get the same people, so it's like,
And you received a ABCFT?
I have all the 3 unions that are involved with the ABC. I got all 3 of those to endorse me.
ABC Federation of Teachers,
CSCA, and
California,
School Employees Association,
okay,
and AFSCME.
and AFSCME.
That's the same group that was involved with the city of Sirius.
Okay.
Same group.
And how do, if a voter wants to contact you, how can they contact you?
My email is maynardlaw@earthlink.net. Phone number is 924-6222.
Okay.
And I got a kickoff coming up this Labor Day. And it's going to be at Mary Ann and Bob Hewlett's house. And kind of do it low key. We're not doing it high key. It's over lunchtime, 11 to 2. And just a lot of people coming out. And